Let's roll.
Hey everybody, welcome back to your favorite fantastic live media response show. It's X's for Show, and we're coming at you with a quick response to the Fantastic Four movie, First Steps, and we're first out the gate really excited to talk about it. NICO action.
TK Accidental.
Hey everyone, it's Peak Jonah.
And that makes me your producer, KEVO. Really make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future, but we are super stoked to be talking about the First Family.
All right, so I want to start with, there's the stupid old one that KEVO pointed out. They're in like a little phantasmic bubble for a second. In this one, there's the bad one, the Corman. There are the two bad ones with Chris Evans, and then there's the one bad one with the sexy little man. I can't think of his name, but he's cute, and he played Reed.
Miles Teller.
He's a Trumper. We gotta.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. Uncute. Instantly uncute.
Yeah,
what a bummer.
He's out. I call it the Josh Trank one because that's, I feel bad associating Kate Mara with it, but it's her fault for taking the role.
But I feel like Josh Trank is not convinced he was associated with that movie by the end.
Yeah.
I also wanted to point out so everyone could know, if you haven't seen it yet, if you're going to see it again, this is the cast of the original Fantastic Four in the top right. They have a nice little cameo in the introduction when everyone's giving their thanks to the Fantastic Four. The original cast was in it from 1994, so that was really sweet. So
that's Harmony from Buffy.
Oh my God. That's the
adult. She's the younger.
She's the younger, yeah. But still, that's so funny. It is.
It kind of is in an alternate.
It would have been cute if she'd had a little cam lamb.
Right, why not?
Right. So
makes as much sense as anything.
All right. So I want to start with, and guys, sound off in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts. How many of the Fantastic Four movies have you seen? I've seen all of them and all of the animated series as a result of KEVO and I doing a fantastic project over on our original podcast home alongside Joey, my favorite guy, who I learned to podcast from. He's the best. And I miss him every day. Like I can talk to him, but
he's alive.
Good Lord.
Someone go. I've seen them all.
I've seen them all, and you didn't mention one, so I'm curious.
Wait, no, one. Wait, hold on. No, the Corman.
Yeah.
The two.
Yeah.
The Trank.
Yeah.
Which one did I miss?
Animated series.
And say
Wait,
it.
World's Greatest Heroes, the other animated
series.
series.
No, yeah, we watched both animated series.
Okay.
We watched Reed is Elastic Suit.
Yeah. I've even seen the pilot for the Silver Surfer animated show from Fox Kids that they tried to do in the 1990s.
The whole series is you have access to the whole series.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I'm obsessed with it. It's insane. The Silver Surfer series is insane. It is.
No, we're gonna be done with
opera
animated soon.
It's
so
Kanye Knowles.
Space opera on another level. So yeah, I have also seen them all, which is weird because I hate the Fantastic Four. Conceptually, I hate the comics. I despise Reed Richards.
You really do.
On a problematic level.
It's documented.
But yeah, I've seen all of them. I will say, cutting into it right now, the one huge disappointment I had with that film was there was no reference to the 1994 animated theme song, which is horrible, but would have been so fun to turn into something.
I genuinely feel like that post-credit scene does actually it's up the
referencing
vibe.
The vibe, but I would have liked to hear da, 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 at some point in the film. Like I would have liked that particular musical note. Or for somebody to just randomly do the lyrics as a monologue describing the Fantastic Four. I would have taken that too.
I would have settled for a call for 4.
Yeah. But anyway, that's really the only thing wrong with the film. So there you go.
Jonah, how many of these have you seen? And how many Fantastic Four movies have you seen? And as our resident scientist, how do you science?
Well, I have only seen the first Chris Evans one way back when it came out. Thing wasn't very popular in my household. We were much more of a Hulk family, but I was young enough to have both Hulk gloves and the Thing gloves. I mean, my cousin used to box each other with them, so that was a lot of fun.
Love it.
But no, I've never seen any of the animated series. This is my second on-screen version of the Fantastic Four. And how do you use science? Well, science is experimentation and is looking at the rules at which we use to guide us in how we see the universe that aren't always exact or correct. But I did lean over to KEVO at one point while Reed was writing something down on the board, on his blackboard, saying, "That was gibberish."
Hun, I really love that you said you leaned over to KEVO and said it, when what you really did was you angled your face slightly and shouted to the theater.
I did not. I'm a good
There's
theater
no
boy.
such thing.
I'm joking. I just also heard it from from my seat a few seats over, and did think the same thing.
He kind of just wrote like a nonsense equation, which is fine. That they in the MCU universes, there's science and there's equations and there's math that we don't understand because they have different things.
Oh,
but like
yeah.
that's nothing. Literally, there is nothing. It's just he does have derivatives up there. That's cool.
I love that. Now, did you think this was derivative or?
No, it was fun. I would love more of Pedro Pascal doing Reed's a little sideshow magic hour as the Bill Nye of his universe, like as a web series. I think that would be cute. But overall, I really enjoyed it. This is a very sci-fi movie, but funny enough, the science doesn't really mean anything because it's not actual science. Nothing. They're going over things that are purely the fiction part of science fiction. And that's great. So it's a lot of just suspension of disbelief of, well, that's how it has to go. Those are the rules of which things are governed.
Now, KEVO,
Yes.
we have documented your Fantastic Four journey, your exploration through the cosmic rays, and where you at?
Yeah, it's crazy to think it's so long ago that we covered Fantastic Four over on Cage Club HTML, so definitely go check those out. I think we have lost episodes even, but we did all the work. We watched everything, and this franchise has really suffered a tough road. It's so funny that this is the fourth reboot, and it seems to be the time that it took. This is, it wasn't perfect. And I really want to stress that. There are things about it where I'm like, interesting choices. Johnny looks 40. Is that just me? And I know that's just Joey Quinn. I know that's not anything to do anything anyone can help. He's only 31. But like, that's a contributing factor to this franchise to me. It's not what I expected from so many characters in so many ways, but the way that they all gelled together and truly represented this concept of being a family and working together and illustrating how the world becomes their family. They really accomplished that so well. That was such the key element of this film. Was the idea of them being family and extending that to everyone.
What I'll say about Johnny is you are right that he looks 40, and it was really funny because somebody posted a picture of him looking very handsome, but he's going Reed at the temples, and somebody was like, mind you, he will be playing a teenager this week. I loved that the movie did something that the others have not done that I think is really important, which is try and age Johnny up a little bit, because he is basically a teenager when the Fantastic Four, the comic starts. Why is a teenager flying with you into space? That's
Put
a
that
horrible
teenager
idea.
into space.
That's not a good idea. Like, unless you're going to rocket them out into space and never get them back, which I do think is a good idea. Like, bringing a teenager onto your crew is insane.
And it's not that we can't ever do that, but we already have so many of those. So absolutely.
Yeah. And he's not gonna ever be hanging out with Kamala Khan on New Champions or Young Avengers or anything like that.
Of course.
So aging him up, he appears to be among genius peers. Like the four of them are all very, very smart, capable geniuses. And he appears to be an adult who went through, college, graduates, whatever you would need to do to be able to do all this stuff. So he's obviously the youngest of the group, but I mean, he's 31, like Johnny being 30. I think Johnny's probably supposed to be like 25. But that's not insane to me. And it worked. He's probably my least favorite of the castings, but not even in a he's bad way. Just like I might have, I don't know, man. It's so tough to recapture that Chris Evans energy. That is the ultimate Human Torch energy for all time. And is so good. It ruined Captain America for everybody, not just me. I'm everybody feels this way.
I want to engage a little bit because like I love talking about the casting, and no, like for real, like I felt very much like at the time when they were like Jessica Alba as Sue Storm a trillion years ago, I was like, oh, cool, great. And then people were like, we're closed-minded and problematic, and we don't like that she's like part Mexican. And I'm like, then I don't like that you're part idiot. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so then we get to the Tranks, and we have a black iteration of the Storm family in some regards, and too much of a spotlight was put on that without letting it be its element in the story. It became a news story outside of the film. Yeah. Yes. Something I loved here, I loved super duper connected to his city, The Thing. Yeah. They made him part of Yancey Street, and then they gave him a cockroach of a girlfriend, and she was fantastic. But
hold on here real quick. The Marvel multiverse now has Jews. The primary MCU still might not, but we know that there is a universe in the Marvel multiverse that has Jews. Everybody get excited. We got 1, 2, if we count Rachel Rosman. But
I just want to point out that you're starting to sound like the Count. 1, 2, and
you're also counting Jews.
We're counting Jews. It's not the best spot to be in, but wow, the gays never knew they had it so good with the MCU. Yeah, I mean, that was really when they showed the Star of David and they showed that he was going into a temple. Because it's funny, when they show her earlier in the film, I leaned over to my husband and I was like, is she like is he outside of a synagogue right now? Like, is this a Jewish day school? And I thought it was just going to be like, it could be one, like, isn't, because we know Ben Grimm is Jewish, so isn't that cute? But the fact that later in the film, fully, you see the Star of David is in the circle there that is just out of frame, and you fully see it. And he goes in and she asks if he's looking for spiritual guidance. It's fully a Jewish moment, and the only one we've had in 100 and some odd hours of footage from this series of films. So wow, we're killing it here.
Well, I gotta say, at least you got a sexy man with a rock beard. The beard works.
Reference
for
one.
me. Reference 1. The beard.
I do be counting today.
Right. So I don't know. I'm stuck in a joke in my head. So Jonah, here's a really legitimate question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for us, the Fantastic Four were kind of like, they're classic, but you grew up in an era where they're doofy, and so like it's not the same. One of the things that I thought that this movie did, like, for my money, pretty well was like nobody was a total idiot. Like, because I love what TK's saying about Chris Evans being like the classic Johnny Storm, but for me, he's still in that moment very not another teen movie. He's very, it's a banana split. And like not
which is exactly Johnny's story. Anyway, just continue.
Yeah, that's who I want driving my spaceship. But so like vibe with me on the casting. Like, do you care about the Fantastic Four in general? How do you feel about Pedro Pascal? Would you also rock a beard if you were made of rocks?
Yes, all the above, yes. Here's the thing. I don't really care about the Fantastic Four in terms of comics. I read a couple of things that they're in or they've done. I don't particularly care for them. Part of it being the Fantastic Four is such a fantastic metaphor. In a way, comparative to things that I do enjoy, like the mutants, where it's these people who did not have powers and had their DNA changed by the cosmos and were given powers are okay and heralded and supported by the world, but people who biologically have the exact same thing, it's, oh, that's a problem, bad, no. And it feels a little weird because it's, well, what exactly is the difference? That being said, Fantastic Four are pretty great. There's nothing wrong with any of them. I enjoy them when I do see them. I do find earlier Fantastic Four wild because one, I love that Ben Grimm's disguise in old comics is just a trench coat and a hat, and everyone's like, don't know who that is. Love that.
Innocent adult man? No, it's the Thing.
I love that Sue's like, I like you, Reed, but Namor. And then Johnny's with Crystal, and Crystal's constantly cheating on him, and she's just like, it's my right to cheat on Johnny. And Johnny's like, but I love her. And so it's just the Fantastic Four that at least I know is very weird and very wacky. Even growing up, the Fantastic Four wasn't as like prominent, at least when I was growing up. Growing up around when the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man came out, it was Spider-Man and it was Hulk. Those were like two big superheroes. But you know, as we learned in this movie, his not catchphrase, it's clobbering time, was, you know, in my purview. So I have no actual special connections to Fantastic Four. So I'm happy for them to cast whomever they want, whoever was the best for the role. And I enjoyed everybody in all of these roles. What I did love about this movie was the dissection of Ben, where you assume Ben is a knucklehead, but even though he is the Thing, Ben Grimm is a scientific genius and in of itself academically smart. And so seeing him in that capacity here and not be a big old doofus was really enjoyable and really felt like the character was more well-rounded.
You know, and it's so funny because like one of the things that I think about the Thing all the time when I think about how he's portrayed is it's this like, I would do anything to look like a person again. You know what I mean? I would sell out my friends and trust Doom if it made me look like a human man's. And like, I don't know why he is always treated like some sort of horrifying mole person. Oh wait, in this movie they couldn't do that because there was a dashing mole man. I'm telling you, I have a crush on this mole man. He just gave Reed so much guff. It was so great. He was so funny. I love treating Subterranea this way. The goggles, I want this cosplay. I'm going to do it like a muscle boy. I love this. I loved him. This was great.
It was also really fascinating in a film that was so unafraid to do over-the-top sci-fi moments that they chose to have Mole Man and the Moloids just be people that lived underground. Like, that was the thing that really surprised me. Him being a regular man is like kind of whatever, but the Moloids are literal different species mole people. But in this movie, they're just people that live in Subterranea, which actually looks very nice. You know, it's not maybe not the best, but it's sort of
like a dirty ice hotel. I could get into it.
Well, I mean, they've got like large sculpture, like they've got art, and so like it was a really solid decision that it didn't then overly rely on CGI to give us mole people. It wasn't like another kind of silly moment where the mole people were like minions and you had the and you know, he's very funny. The only thing I might have liked to have seen, because they were doing so much, is he could have had some really good makeup and prosthetics.
Well,
but
I have a question as well. How do we feel about the specific focus on Mole Man as a villain at the expense of something like John Malkovich's what was supposed to be any appearance and now was completely cut? I still can't believe there was genuinely absolutely nothing. I was actually kind of expecting at least like the post-credit scene, because so much of the animated sequence focused on making fun of Red Ghost. I thought the image was going to turn off and he was going to be watching it and be like pissed off that they were making him look like a moron. I thought it would be like anything but because this was in the teaser, I'm so surprised they then did give so much time to Mole Man, and there was nothing of this.
I am still reeling from the revelation that he was playing Red Ghost, because as soon as they said his name, I thought, oh, he's going to really torture Reed as his father, who goes on to have a crazy amount of appearances and villainy in the Marvel universe, and is exactly who John Malkovich should play. I don't care if he's in the film as Red Ghost. That's not something I needed at all. The Red Ghost reference that they had with Reed punching the monkey was all that we need. Like, the fact that they rapid fire went through a bunch of villains, I might have liked a little bit more, but like the one I would have taken, and this is just like a me thing, and then anybody who has played Marvel Contest of Champions thing, is I would have gone with more Diablo. But they gave a really fast rogues gallery and just established through a few beats that like Fantastic Four's on the job. They do this. Galactus is literally the hugest villain. He takes up too much time and space to get there. I don't even think they had enough time as it is. I don't know why they chopped the extra half hour off the movie. I probably wouldn't have. I would have left as much of that in as possible, because this does go really fast. But unless John Malkovich is playing Nathaniel Richards, I just have I can't imagine why they would waste anybody's time casting him as Red Ghost. So I was perfectly okay with it.
And it's something that I was bringing up where, as a kid, I have this very clear memory of wanting to see Hocus Pocus with all of my Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najiminy Cricket loving heart. And in the trailer, there was a scene that took place in a convenience store where Kathy Najimy's character is trying to snack, and it's an unfortunate fat joke. In my memory, I have this mental image of Winnie pulling her out by her ear going, "No time for snacking," which is in the trailer, but the scene is cut from the film. And I kept telling my parents in the theater, the movie can't be over because that scene hasn't happened yet. And then the movie was over without that scene. And it's something that Kevo and I have discovered with certain TV shows using clips for things like clip shows or opening sequences, where those clips can be kind of hard to find in the episodes. And it creates this context for making something special. It makes it that ooh moment. Like a lot of us know about John Byrne, guy who used to draw X-Men, left X-Men, and then around 2019 started drawing his own. Legitimately, he had openly admitted it's fan fiction. He just started drawing his own continuation of his run. And it's been announced this year at Marvel that they're just going to publish it. They're just buying it from him and publishing it as its own AU. And I think it's called X-Men Elsewhen. And it's just its own product. And it creates a mystique and a mythology, even if it's not great, even if it is great. I can't tell you. What's it again, Jonah?
Mystique is in the X-Men.
Yes, she is. She sure is. And you know, that's the thing. The shape changer of this. Would this have made it a different experience? Would this be something where 5 years from now we're going to be calling for the Being John Malkovich cut of Fantastic Four? Or is it not going to matter?
It'll depend on how much they actually told us the truth, and he was Red Ghost, because that's the thing. Seeing him here in this trailer, the way they flashed to it, if that's all he was, that felt especially weird. There's this scene that I caught while I was going through the, once again, Marvel Wikia, kudos, all the shots that you have. They gather everything from the trailers and everything. And anyone who's now seen the film knows there's a lot of stuff missing from this corner of the screen. The villain, perhaps. So, you know, these things happen where either stuff is edited in a certain way, where it removes things that would be giant plot spoilers, but using it at all when he was only going to be Red Ghost already felt strange. So that's where I'm like, were you misleading us? Was he going to be more significant? Or was that just trying to get people hyped for the idea that John Malkovich might be in a Marvel movie? That's a legitimate reason to just flash his face, even if it was going to be a cameo.
That hair and styling does look like Red Ghost.
Okay, well, there you go. So maybe that's even... Let's save him then.
Yeah. But again, I think he would have been the best Nathaniel Richards.
Ooh.
And maybe still can be.
But let's talk about Ozark.
Yeah.
Ozark was both great and pointless in this.
Yes.
So I got to be honest. I kept thinking at the end, and I'm so stupid. I don't know what's wrong with me. I kept thinking at the end when Johnny was like, "Tell Franklin that Uncle Johnny loves him," and I was like, "Ooh." First bit of fuck this dialogue in the entire movie. And he starts racing toward it. And I'm like, how is it going to be that he doesn't go through? And I'm like, maybe like the combined efforts of everybody dreaming together will do it or something. I just can't come up. And then I'm like, Herbie's going to do it. It's going to be Herbie. And I'm like, Herbie, because Herbie's the only other character in this movie.
He's fully loaded.
By the end of this movie, I forgot she was even in it.
Yeah.
And felt terrible about it. And I really wonder if that 30 minutes that are missing, 14 of them are John Malkovich and 16 of them are her.
Yep. That would track.
And I have to agree, this movie really kept me on my toes, and that's one of the things I really need to compliment it for. Because, yeah, I was like, are they going to kill Johnny? Is Sue actually going to die? This isn't our universe, so it's not like it would affect us the same way. So, yeah, that was a huge bonus for this film.
I also want to say that, like, the other thing that really worked for it was so excited about being a period piece, and as Jonah pointed out to us in the theater, a sci-fi piece. It did not care about your Marvel universe. And good, because I kept being like, they're going to ruin it by saying, and the delegate from Wakanda says, and like I was afraid it was going to like literally be like a period unkind Wakanda, and then the film had some phenomenal black characters. I feel so bad I can't think of her name in this moment. But the character that was clearly their manager, their press agent, was
Lynn,
I think. Maybe she was. They barely even said Ben's name, so like I don't feel too terrible about missing names. But like,
no.
She was such a cool character in the ways they captured her visually. And that's what I mean. It was so interested in being a period piece, showing a young person in the 60s reacting to seeing space flight and how this is their only hope for the world. Like, it did not care about being a superhero movie in a way I just thought was like a tasty cake.
You say that, but like it also really did care about being a superhero movie.
Well, fuck my drag.
I mean, like in great ways. And like, you also say it's a period piece, and it is, of course, but also...
I thought it was like, X-Men First Class, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also X-Men First Class definitely takes place in, like, what we identify as the 60s. There's a bunch of this movie that's sort of telling you to not think of it as any time. Like, especially because they might hop universes and come over to ours. This might be an alternative 2025. Or like even, you know, earlier because, you know, it's 4 years in the future, but like they have faster than light technology, you know, and like they have a orbiting faster than light ship. So like, this isn't the 60s, but it's reference of the 60s that the Fantastic Four came from. It has so much of that style. But then there's a bunch of other stuff that would lead you to believe that it's actually much later in a timeline, and that, you know, a lot of this stuff is carryover aesthetic or developed later, but it's that sort of helps increase the science fiction of it all, and also helps increase the superhero of it all, because superhero comics have really had to disconnect from literal time, because we don't deal with time passing in the right way. So the X-Men all reflect on their childhoods, and the Fantastic Four all reflect on the start of their time, and they think of a 60s aesthetic, and yet if they're doing that in 2025, this all has to have happened in like the mid 2000s or like even early 2010s. So why do they have that aesthetic in their childhood? And this movie kind of answers the question by being like, because that's what this universe is like. That's how this Earth developed, such that like this is all the technology, and the aesthetic is so inspired by the 60s, and yet like no home looked this advanced. No home was this huge or had all this stuff. So it's just incredibly maximalist in a really fun way. But I think that maximalism also is part of what makes it a superhero movie, because superhero stories are always maximal, are basically never minimalist. And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, like that particular line of thought could go on for a while for me. But I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's nothing about it I didn't absolutely love when it comes to the kind of aesthetics of it, or its love for being the movie about the superhero first family.
It's so interesting to hear you point out that this movie is about the superhero first family.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the anachronisms that we're both kind of engaging with and pointing to are both a benefit and I feel so bad because I just learned the term for it, and like it's like so gooey zope or something. The term for a future that never happened. The term for like Buck Rogersing.
Yeah.
And I just learned it on one of our Zillow shows that we watch. The Jack McBrayer one.
Yeah, it was Gone Wild.
Yeah, where somebody discusses that style. And that was one of the things that this movie really benefited from, but then it also like had to contend with. There's a through line in the Marvel universe that's actually like a really fascinating thing that I've never seen handled the same way in any other franchise. Billboards really matter in this universe. And I'm interested in how this movie showed billboards. It made them matter so much. It's because in the Marvel universe, whether we admit it or not, designer aesthetic has become a humongous element of how we interpret these films. Whether it's Iron Man establishing it, it's Captain America's suit design being a part of his story, it's people stepping into their true costumes in the Marvel Netflix universe. Kevo, that Jessica Jones Marge image has ruined my brain.
Oh my God! Little Caesars.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, this is one of the things I was going to get to. Canada Dry, right above it.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
But also,
7-Up.
Disney movies that never got made, musicals that were like famous and didn't happen. Like, this movie understood that the role of media in this media project is an idea of self-consumption, and it explored it visually. The Fantastic Four building is branded like one of these billboards, not like Avengers Tower. It is not like, oh, look at this superhero headquarters. It's like that fucking Canada Dry building with the 7-Up logo above it. And there's an element to that I think is so exciting to explore.
Quick question, because I know that you watched the Zillow Gone Wild that had the building in it, right?
No.
Yes.
That was
Wait, what?
There was a special?
Yeah, well, or there was like a little piece where Jack McBrayer was in the building. And so the only reason I ask is because I'm reasonably certain in the clip that I saw of it, I thought you guys said you watched it. I'm reasonably certain he calls it the Baxter Building. And I'm almost 100% certain they never call it the Baxter Building in the film.
I believe I did not hear that, the Baxter Building. Nope.
Yeah, and it says the Future Foundation at the base of the building, which I loved, great reference, but I was very curious, you know, that's something that you know, as an old fan, I noticed immediately they never call it the Baxter Building.
This is part of it, though. Like, I saw that, you know, the Wikipedia article is currently in flux with it still settling on how people feel everything should be described. But the article even denotes, like, for example, Doctor Doom is only named as such off screen for the mid credits,
in the credits,
unseen cameo.
Yep.
It refers to the building as the Baxter Building in the summary. It refers to the year as 1960, and so there's information that is like flying around. Like I absolutely, yeah, we know it's supposed to be called the Baxter Building, but is that actually what its name is in this? There are some things where some stuff was a little bit left in flux, and you can see that that's where you know, edits often make things like that kind of kerfuffed.
Yeah, and you know, it doesn't need to be called the Baxter Building, and I don't necessarily need it to be identified as 1960. I like my idea. I figured it was 1960, but I kind of like the idea that it wasn't.
But even 1960 feels a little bit too early. It should be at least like 70.
Yeah. But you know, the aesthetic is really 60s.
Exactly.
So you know, it makes a ton of sense, but I like that you can't. There's reasons why you shouldn't draw the conclusion that it's the 60s, and there's no reason why you have to, because the movie never flashes it anywhere. I don't really think. Maybe I'm wrong about that, and it comes up in the many ABC news. Brett, don't worry. We know who the preferred broadcaster of
that old logo
is.
though.
Yeah, really good. Way to synergize Disney. You know, the real hero is the one of the three networks we found along the way.
Well, hold on. I only want to point out that one of the things that I actually thought made this movie work so well was that they used ABC and they didn't make up NBC.
Yeah. No, totally.
Like, they ate that realism in a tasty way. Was such a fresh,
and they had access to the resources. Why not? Absolutely. It's funny because Disney has access to it.
So does DC. They have access to Warner Brothers, and through Warner Brothers, I'm sure they own something. I'm sure somewhere along the way, Warner Brothers bought DuPont. I'm sure somewhere along the way,
but they don't have access to either of the other two. They don't. It's not CBS's Viacom, and NBC is.
I'm sorry, they're what? I think you mean they're Skydance.
Well, yeah, no, sorry, now they're Sky. Please don't put me in a gulag for talking about them.
Yeah, you just angered the rating gods.
Please don't put me.
Demon is gonna.
Please don't cancel my show. Yeah.
No one's gonna read your spec script now.
The one reference I saw to another network, TV5 New York.
TV5. There you go. Yep.
I love it. I would love to know if that's what the 5 transponder looked like, because I don't think until Rupee Murdo decided to pop open 5, I don't think on Fox, I don't think that anything used the New York 5 transponder like historically, so that would be really fascinating to know. Okay, the science. I want to get gay with it. Let me tell you the way I loved this ship. Let me tell you the way I loved. This was one of my favorite in-space birthing scenes, and I love aliens, so I have a lot to choose from.
You do?
The only thing that I thought was a little heavy-handed was Stu pushes a baby out and then pushes a Galactus in, both into a giant hole. It's just, there is something a little bit about it, but like...
foreshadowing.
I do want to pause here and take a minute to talk about the fact that this is Sue Storm's movie. It's Vanessa Kirby's movie. She is the breakout star. She is so incredibly good. I am obsessed with her.
I love the way she eats all of her enemies and then gains abilities similar to theirs.
We watched the
Why
same
are you like this?
Because she's Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah, I get it. I got it. I really love her so much. I have one concern, and it is that James Marsters has been talking about how he barely survived the bleaching process of Buffy. I really do appreciate that they were showing her roots the entire time. It was a very well done shadow root, but I have so many questions about why Sue Storm is not a natural blonde in this universe. It looks so good. Her hair looks incredible, but the movie seems to be really going out of its way to establish that she does this to herself.
No, hold on. Remember that time that Barbara Bush's hair went white overnight?
I was like present for that.
Right? Because you're from Maine. So, like, you remember when that happened?
Yes.
Maybe when her mom passed in the car accident,
Yeah,
her hair shocked itself dark.
Well, thank you, Crash Test Dummies, for that suggestion.
On a dummy.
No, because she wouldn't have the roots. I could not look away from the fact that her roots were showing. And I obviously, like, somebody had that intention. This wasn't like a bad dye job. Somebody thought she would look really good with a shadow root, and I don't disagree. It's just such a wild choice, because they really could have just made her blonde. I really do think it was that filming went on a really long time, and you cannot keep bleaching somebody's hair like that. And they were.
What do you love her from again? Ted Lasso?
I don't love her from anything.
Oh, no, that's Hannah.
No, we love
Wadsworth.
her.
Yes,
we love her from Fast Furious. She's
Right.
Jason Statham's sister in Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, we love her.
I do love Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso, but more I love her from Game of Thrones.
I love her from her opera voice.
Yeah, yes, I also love her from singing Christmas songs at me against my will, but then they move me to tears, and I'm powerless to do anything to stop myself from crying. I love Vanessa Kirby so much. She is so good. You're right. Those scenes are really, really heavy-handed, but again, it feels like it's for the love of this movie loving itself and loving its heroes. And the Marvel Universe so often tries to tell you that Sue is a Jean and a Wanda, and then Jean and Wanda show up to the function and just start rewriting reality. And Sue goes, I have a really big force field here. And it just doesn't feel the same at all. It's so unimpressive.
Okay, hold on. I literally, in the car, just listened on our way home from hanging with Jonah for the week. So, we split our time. We're with our man as much as we can be. Hey, Jonah. And we're listening, and you defend Wolverine being in 1 trillion titles because when he shows up, what's he going to do? He's just going to stab you. What's the big deal?
Right.
But if Phoenix shows up and she doesn't do crazy Phoenix shit, it's a bummer because she should be. Your through line of consistency here is very clear. Yeah. And I actually really recommend everybody who's listening to this over here on X's for Show /HTML, go check out our stuff over on X's for Comics. That's specifically in the X-Men Titans catch-up. But you really do have a point about when you try to say somebody's a powerhouse, but they can't powerhouse at the powerhouse, you do get Batman Green Arrow syndrome pretty quickly. And I just wanted to say that is such a consistent thread from you. It's really impressive.
Well, thank you. I stand by my convictions when it comes to superheroes, but I'll buy it. Listen, I love her. And especially I love this woman. I love Vanessa Kirby playing Sue. So I'll buy it. Give her whatever powers you want. And as soon as it started, my mind immediately went to well, I've seen this show before. Sue doesn't have the power to go against a Galactus because the comics never do it. She's never kicking ass with the other big name women who just destroy shit. And so the fact that this one lived up to the thing it said it was going to do, and she, through sheer fucking force of will, pushes a space god into a black hole. That's so fucking good. That is so good. And it does. I don't know quite what she would do with Wanda, but I feel like she would have survived Multiverse of Madness.
And it's really important that it was still so significantly the team. She was the heavy puncher, which even in a team, sometimes someone is the heaviest puncher for whatever situation you find yourself in. But like Reed, Johnny, and Ben were all still necessary for wrapping it up, which is really important in a team movie. I know a lot of, woke complainers would complain if they gave too much of the final blow to the woman, or generally, yeah, it is disappointing if it's a group title and one person is the focus of the final confrontation. But it really was, as much as she was the star, the heavy hitter, the focus, it took all of them. And that was something that I truly appreciated, that they made sure to take the attention to.
And now, speaking of taking our attention to something, and this amazing still, Kevo, if you could leave this up for a moment, thank you.
Yeah, this must be from the trailer, so the fact that this was in the trailer is amazing.
I'm really, really lucky. The people in my life love me the way they do. I say to Jonah one time, I don't have a Thor hammer for Father's Day. I have a Thor's hammer. I say to TK one time, man, I would love to be able to play Final Fantasy VII Remake, and suddenly a gaming PC exists in my sphere. I say to Kevo, I'd like a nice life and get married and stuff. And he does that. But
work in progress.
I am very lucky that an older boyfriend out of nowhere found me a piano. And now I have a piano and I can't stop playing it. And I love this thing. God, I love it. And I have to be honest, having a piano is really everything I thought it would be after 30 years. Just like the way it fills the house, the sound, it's so good. Let me tell you, my relationship with buying a digital instrument tracker is not the same. I've said since I'm 9 years old, if I just have an 8-track recorder that's easy to use, I will never stop making albums. I'll make an album a week. I'll be a guy who goes up and goes on Kickstarter and does an album every 7 days, because if I have an 8-track recorder, I can do anything. It'll make music accessible to... It did not. And a couple of weeks ago, I realized for the 5th time, I don't know where mine has ever been in the last 3 years. Bye. There's $300 gone. But I make that comparison because I've waited a really long time to finally have Franklin. And was this going to be a piano or a multi-tracker? Was this going to... And, the thing that I kind of flustered by, and I guess flummoxed by, that I had never considered, is they managed to never go there. He just doesn't develop enough to be either thing. He is little more than Franklin MacGuffin, and he is just the One Ring in some ways. And Galactagolem wants him, and so does Frodo Richards, right?
Good.
I still don't have my answer.
Well, and I have to argue yes and no, and that's the thing about comic book movies, especially from things like this source. Again, something from the very end of the film where it's them and they have them in the car seat. We got little bits, we got some stuff, but it's one of those things where, is it fair to say, if you know, you know? It sounds like gobbledygook when they're like, the power cosmic, but no, that's a phrase. When we watched Power Rangers 2017, I was so charmed by so much of that film because they really put thought and effort into the lore. And when they mentioned the word Zeo Crystal, I was like, oh shit, I'm a Power Rangers fan. I know what that is. So while they didn't go whole hog on Franklin, I really appreciated what they gave, knowing there is stuff there, and it is sort of whispering the idea. TK.
It's so wild to me that you're saying this, Kevo, because Nico, you know all of the stuff that they're referencing. Stuff that I think Kevo doesn't know that they're referencing here. Including the fact that, in some ways, maybe this is kind of Earth X. because the immediate thing that Galactus says is that Franklin is going to be the next Galactus, which is only an Earth X suggestion.
They got quite a lecture about that as soon as we got home from the movie. I was immediately like,
Yeah.
so let me tell you guys how there's universes. And like,
Right.
I do just want to point out that Earth X, just not a tangent, Earth X is a victim of funny storytelling is funny. And so in Earth X, because Alex Ross, a famous painter, was given an opportunity to tell a story, he told very visual stories. So for him, Nightcrawler becomes Belasco because they look similar. Colossus becomes Mr. Sinister because they look similar. Ultimately, Franklin becomes Galactus is the only one that's actually like, what a thought. And it is such a palpable, delicious idea. And Herbie was the star of this movie.
Herbie was in fact the star of this film.
I'm not gonna waste $60 on a popcorn bucket. Not everything is, and I know no one believes me when I tell them this, but this is maybe my favorite thing in the last 10 years. I don't know what it is about this Dunkin' Donuts pail that is like my favorite thing in the world. But Herbie, not worth $60. This would have been, but
But is it? There's no. It's not a Herbie bucket. It's Reed.
They have both.
There's a Herbie bucket.
There's a
three
$60
buckets.
Herbie bucket. There's an $80 Galactus bucket, and then
I think
there's
it's 100 something.
and then there's the Reed bucket. But like the
Yeah.
Galactus bucket sold out around the world.
And broke a
During-
Guinness record.
Yeah, during previews, it literally sold out in seconds.
I think Maine literally doesn't get any of them. I think we don't.
I could still get to a
Also-
Herbie if you need it.
No matter what, everyone do yourselves a favor and listen to the amazing score by Michael Giacchino, who really outdid himself this film. But make sure you hold tight for the final tracks of the soundtrack, which includes Herbie's Lullaby,
Yes.
which is Herbie in Herbie just singing an adorable. I could have cried. It was the sweetest goddamn thing.
I listened to
It was the Winnie the Poohsiest thing that there has ever been in a Marvel movie. It was so sweet. He's such a great character. I hope he catches on.
It was so funny until like 2 months ago. At some point, some announcement came out talking about how the voice for Herbie was being made for the film. And up until I read that article, they still had not explained who Natasha Lyonne was playing. And I was 100% certain that she was going to be doing the voice of Herbie. And every time Herbie would come on screen, I would sort of giggle about that because...
Hey, VP.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on?
The other thing I want to
fucking
say,
man in the sky.
I'm 100% certain that she received her script and walked onto set playing Alicia Masters, and a woke intern ran in at the last minute and was like, this is the most insanely offensive thing you can do. You can't not cast a blind person as Alicia Masters. You have to rewrite the film. And they did. There's just no...
No,
can't
dude,
convince
I
me
don't
anything
think...
else.
Can I tell you why I don't think that was the case?
Yes.
Tell me one thing about Alicia Masters that is not a man in her life. I will wait right here.
Yeah.
Was
No,
she a
100%.
teacher?
And so, what is the
But-
character?
Was she a teacher?
Maybe.
No.
Because
maybe at
all
some
of those
point.
scenes would have to stay the same too.
And so, like,
No,
one of the-
I think the original thing was Puppet Master was a bigger deal because they do mention Puppet Master.
and so for me, I think the reason that
I hope I'm wrong. I love this. Please go.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. Yeah.
the reason I don't necessarily hope you're wrong, but the reason I could foresee it.
Yeah.
You can have Alicia marry Johnny because she did. And now it turned out that was a Skrull impersonating her, but that was another writer another editor correcting that story. They really did have her fall in love with Johnny. And then they changed their mind and they made her Elijah the Skrull, right?
Yeah.
But-
Who is still my favorite of Johnny's girlfriends.
Agreed. Times well, no, my second favorite because I love Miss Thing. But
Oh yeah.
yeah. But I feel like they said, what is the interpretable moment that would allow us intersectionality in this film? Alicia isn't a great loss to this movie. She could be to the MCU. I think this character, her Judaism, I believe this exploration of the idea that Ben is Jewish is a highlighted underscore element of the time period, and the fact that we even saw, I mean, I'm going to try not to cry and talk about it, but there were two people who were meant to clearly be Stan Lee and Jack Kirby drawing Fantastic Four in a timely office. And I believe her inclusion is a statement on the shifting understanding of American culturalism in the 1960s. We lived under the idea of a nuclear family that was baked in an American oven just like our apple pie. And then all of a sudden, the intersectionality of the world exploded with things post the Geneva Convention. And this idea of America can continue to grow, and the people that were once those people, like the Italians, all of a sudden had their own genres of music and were just killing it, like Box 3 down there, who just waved so handsomely. And, it gave birth to a new identity for America. I would love to believe that her inclusion was an understanding of that shifting palette, the way this movie, for me, sought to do so.
I could keep a conspiracy theory going that would refute what you're saying. Not again, it's based on nothing but supposition. I won't get into it, but I like yours so much better. It paints a world that I want to live in.
I do want to say, though, I love that you said some woke intern came in and said, instead, let's introduce Rachel Rosman as the Jewish,
truly the Cho Chang of Yancey Street.
We never see her. Did we see her once outside of synagogue? I don't think we did.
She steps out of the gate. She goes onto the street to meet Ben. She's out in the world.
Not just a ghost that lives in.
So it's not Storybrooke. She can leave the town without losing her memory.
But I even checked. I was like, Rachel was already a lot, but Rachel Rosman. Yes, she is.
Rachel Rosman.
I hope she's in every movie.
Eat a gefilte fish for me.
I hope they get married.
I do hope they get married. An interesting moment. That's all I will say. Can we talk about Reed Richards?
Yeah, if we can talk.
Are you mad at him?
I love this version of Reed.
Yeah,
so much. And the thing is, I'm getting to oversaturation with Pedro Pascal, who I love and I experience in my own way. And I've chosen not to watch The Last of Us because I care more about always loving The Mandalorian, wanting to give this movie a chance and having a few other things. But like, guys, we got to give it a rest with this. I get it. He is great, but
gorgeous and talented. And I agree with you. If there's
truly,
anything on this planet that needs to be protected, it is the fucking Mandalorian.
When it came out,
oh my God,
I loved every track on A Rush of Blood to the Head, including Clocks. I loved every track on the album, including Clocks. I loved listening to the album.
The Japanese expanded version included.
Yes.
Thank you.
And you ruined Clocks for me because I've never been to a doctor's office when it's not playing. 40% of the time I can get to a supermarket and it's not playing.
No, but the other 60% of the time the scientist is playing. So get out of that supermarket. It's too late.
It's true. So you don't do this to me. Don't ruin this man for me.
God, such a great album.
It's amazing, but God, they just fucking ruined Clocks. And congratulations to Coldplay for this second wind they're having due to exposing marital affairs.
But God, what cost?
Man, I played it. I actually played
Yellow people
on my piano today.
Oh, I was gonna guess you played the scientist on the fucking piano.
As I was playing Yellow on my piano, I just kept thinking to myself, man, there are people in high positions of power that are so glad that this and not the Epstein files are the focus of Yahoo News today.
Yeah, it's true. Pedro Pascal was phenomenal as Reed. Reed is a really tough character to get right. And I get
thread the Reed.
Thank you. It's similar to Sue, where so many writers want to go, she's a Storm, she's a Jean, she's a Wanda, but then they don't bring it to the table. There's nothing that says that, you know, she's not holding the reality together with her force fields the way that Jean will break it apart or Wanda will break it apart. Similarly, nobody can write Reed's complexity as a brilliant man who has trouble being a good husband and father. They usually make him such a bad husband and father. It's just not worth, like, just, it's not, there's nothing redeemable about this man. And he has made so many choices. Like, basically everybody in the X-Men writers universe has given up on the idea that Charles Xavier is a good man. Or loved the kids or anything, because everybody just kept writing a different story about a weird fucking thing he did early in his career that's horrible, making another child soldier that he let have no friends and made go be a super spy in the Hindu Kush, trapping Danger in the Danger Room knowing she was sentient. You know, everything that he did. Well, I mean, it got even worse when we did Hawksbox, but like they just gave up. There's no way to say that he's redeemable. Reed has like a similar list of war crimes, and they still are like, oh, but boy, does he love Franklin. And he's constantly like, I took out all the sperm from Franklin's testicles, but I never told him. And this way he just can't have kids and we don't have to worry about it.
Yay!
And then some writer tries to be like, but that's love. Like, he's a great dad. It's terrible. I hate reading the comics. He's such a bad person. He is such a bad father. He's such a bad husband. Sue should cheat on him. I just fucking hate him.
Hold on. Or maybe they could just have like a real
no, she should
house.
Specifically cheat on him. She should cuff the shit out of this horrible fucking man. He doesn't deserve happiness or a wife that loves him
You sound
or children.
Like
I'm not this
You sound like
one.
me.
This has nothing to
not
do with
this
my own
one.
father, by the way, everybody. I don't know why anyone is suggesting that. Leave it alone. But
Not
this guy,
one. Yeah.
I fucking love this guy. And it all comes down to that moment where she goes, you being like this hurts me. Which is, I burst into tears in the middle of the fucking movie theater because it was such an incredibly beautiful moment where
Except when you're tired of hearing it from your partners.
this Reed would enter into an open and consensual partnership with Namor.
100%. This
would-
Reed should not be cheated on. This Reed, they
No.
should have a whatever has to happen sexual relationship that
Devil's
everybody enjoys.
Triangle.
Yes. I do think he might be a little bit of a watcher and maybe a little bit of a what if we explored each other's strength type of man.
I down to the tie in the shirt.
Yeah, the tie in the shirt's really good. Yeah. I mean,
Oh my
he's so
God,
handsome
right?
and sexy too. Like that's a whole other part of it. Is he's just a really handsome and sexy dude. But like he really, the writing and Pedro Pascal really managed to show you what the comics never can, which is that he is trying to be a good dad and coming to the conclusion that the baby could be bait is the curse of a genius. And that
this is a person who's using their brain logically. He's just such a reasonable person.
Yes, it's yes, but it is the fact that it's he's the most logical. He comes to the conclusion, but they all come to it too, and that's the thing that so rarely happens in the comics. And it's the moment where she knows as well. That's the other moment I absolutely love, when she turns invisible and she goes, I know, and she just turns invisible because she came to the same conclusion.
Yeah, again,
she just
you wouldn't
doesn't
love it if that was your husband Kevo. You would also be like, you know how hard it is to find him when Kevo turns invisible and runs through the house? Do you know how frustrating that can be?
I understand that can be very difficult. I thankfully have a husband who always wants to be seen. So, yeah, I mean, there was so much about this that I was just so excited to love a version of Reed. And I could go on this subject forever because it's really actually, it is kind of important to me. And it redeems a lot about a character that I feel on the page is just essentially at this point irredeemable. yeah, I don't know. I could keep going, but I'm not going to.
You know, and it's one of the things about this movie that is kind of stuck in my head. I thought that Thunderbolts was one of the best movies I've seen in years. Thunderbolts got me excited about a character I hate. I hate pretty much everyone in Thunderbolts. The fact that I love Bucky is anomalous, actually. And like,
It's because you have a dog named Bucky.
yeah, but I
Only a little.
But I genuinely loved Bucky
No, I know
Barnes
you
well
do.
before. Yeah, I think the little bro in me always understood that Bucky little broed Steve till Steve could be the big guy. And I've always loved Bucky. I have a freaky attachment to Ricky Barnes too. Like I love this character, and he was pretty much the only person that I knew I was going to enjoy. I hate Ghost in the comics. Hate him. I really don't like Sentry in the comics. Yelena Belova is my number one least favorite thing about the Marvel Universe in the comics. I thought that I truly believe Florence Pugh was the only person on Robert Downey Jr.'s level in the Marvel Universe.
You were just saying you want to give her literally everything in Marvel yesterday.
Yeah, I truly believe she's the only person that has ever been on Robert Downey Jr.'s level in the entire Marvel Universe. No one makes me believe that character literally can walk out of the movie like the two of them can. It is shattering to me how good they are. And I came into this movie expecting I will be the Marvels unimpressed, or I will be Brave New World disappointed. And I walked away thinking, even if none of these people are Florence Pugh giving me this character as a revelation, this group has something no group of the Fantastic Four has ever had, which is instant chemistry across the board. And it's because they're all such chemistry-based characters. I didn't actually get to see Thing interact dynamically with Sue in places. Doesn't matter. I can imagine those moments because the few scenes I got were so good. I can imagine each one of these two getting a buddy movie. These four getting a buddy movie, the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
The strength of this movie was in this unbelievable honesty, the conviction of character that shone through. There has never been a Fantastic Four movie that convinced me of a group like this, and at the same time, I don't know that I believe the family of the Avengers the way I believe the family of the Thunderbolts or the Fantastic Four. These two movies really have Fellowship tattoo vibes, and I just kind of feel lucky that these came out so near each other in a time of such disparate disunion, where it feels like the only people who are finding a way to come together are the rabble-rousers. These two films were about rabble-rousers rabble-rousing, and it just felt so good seeing family in the Marvel Universe again.
And I think something these two movies really had in common as well is they both hit the ground running. They didn't waste a lot of time with origin stories, and that really helped a lot. They also didn't dwell too much on too many of the heavier aspects. Something you mentioned early on in this broadcast is that I wanted to make sure I commented on is that they didn't focus too much on the idea of Ben is a rock. Ben doesn't want to be a rock. Ben would give anything to be human again. That's such a heavy focus of so many of the existing Fantastic Four films already. You know, he has wants in life. He wants love and a family. He wants to be able to feel like he can have the things that Reed and Sue are starting to evolve toward for himself. But that's not heavily dwelling on wishing he was human again, which... You know, the X-Men movies, so many of them, unfortunately, lean too heavily into as well. Instead of focusing on giving us stories about these characters existing in the mode that they are used to, that they know that they are going to be living in, and seeing how they deal with that in their daily life. And that's something that was really a huge strength of this film, was that it was, this was no doubt their biggest adventure yet, but an adventure like this was just part of their daily life already.
And I think that was one of the things that I loved about Homecoming, that it shorthanded the origin so beautifully, and I didn't love about Doctor Strange, which belabored the origin. Sometimes you don't want to be edged, you just want the relief. And this movie gave me that quick after like 10 minutes in the beginning. I felt palpable relief. I kind of can't get over what a good time I had at this movie. I love these costumes. I think the last time I walked out of a movie this desperate to cosplay something was, God, maybe Endgame. When I loved those suits so much. Maybe Thor. I just feel like there's something about this movie where every one of us is born into a world we have no control over. We gain control over the world we live in, but we do not have control over the world we are born into. And the idea that you can be reborn into a world where you will need to rely on your family, but you choose to be a beacon of light instead, is such a bold idea in a modern age. And as a queer person, I felt very connected to this movie in a very personal way, and I felt very seen in Reed, because sometimes it is hard to be the ugliest person in the room, and there is something about the truth of being radically transformed, of having this reemergence as a new person, and all of this spotlight on you because now you're shiny, you glow. And whether it's because you choose to be special or you are different than the people around you by virtue of culture, there is something self-isolating about being different. And this movie showed what it means to choose to be a beacon even when those people who accepted you turned on you. Sue's choice to be brave and teach her family to be brave is Martha standing up and teaching us how to protest. Sue standing up and being brave and choosing to be brave is remembering to have pride the year after the Pulse in Orlando. It was a sign that even if there's only 4 of you in the whole world, there's 4 of you. That's amazing. And now there's 5. And you guys can do it. And this movie had such queer themes all the way through. It just shined of queer excellence for me, and I just had a great time.
You can say you had a fantastic time?
Oh, I sure did. I also love Anytime There's Silence, and the track that I wrote for this with yours, the Cosmics, can shine through. I really loved when I figured it sucks because it's like when I saw The Prestige and I was like, oh, that one's doing something dark magic and that one's doing something real plain, and it ruined the movie for everyone around me. And they were like, people like booed me in the theater. It's not like I said Memento was backward, calm down, but like as soon as she said Die With Yours, I was like, oh, she made a deal and now she wished she was dead. Got it.
And that's something that's interesting too, especially in this day and age and this climate. My prediction for this film had been very different. Knowing where so many directors love to go in this day and age, and the stories they like to tell with the boys and whatnot, and the Thunderbolts. And as soon as we understood the plot was going to be... Did you just
come for Thunderbolts?
It's dark. Someone got shot in the head at the very beginning of the movie. It happened. I was expecting, when we understood the plot of the film was going to be Galactus wanted Franklin, and they were saying no, and they started showing that in the trailers. I thought we were going to see humanity turn on the Fantastic Four. I was expecting things of the Fantastic Four fleeing, to our universe, or perhaps sending Franklin off. And I was very surprised there's no follow-up on the rocket yet. But I was expecting something a lot darker, especially knowing how audiences tend to lean. And between this and Superman, I really appreciate the more upbeat, positive, we did it, we worked together, cooperation was key. Mole Man coming up, and yeah, he razzes all three men in the Fantastic Four, but he just razzes them. He still listens to Sue. He still helps. The idea that cooperation is key was not just a message of this film, but was what led to their success. Considering I was expecting it to be, this Earth is just going to get eaten by Galactus, and this is going to be a real downer ending, guys. That was what I was worried about. So I really appreciated that. And even with all these openings, thank you, Fantastic Four. I thought all these people were going to die. I thought this world was doomed, and the fact that instead it was something so nice and positive, I really loved that.
You muted, Bubs.
What a bummer. I feel like talking about the positivity of this movie, thank you so much for taking care of me, is part of what I loved about it. I actually thought that the Thunderbolts was really positive too. I'm going to say
positive for accepting the reality that life can be dark.
Actually, I was going to say, I think maybe as someone who has gone through a rehab program, I have a very different take on how Thunderbolts is a positive film. And sometimes
Agreed.
It's just, you just get to be a beautiful pickle and you don't get to be a beautiful cucumber anymore. And that's Thunderbolts. Sometimes you just go through a change and now you're this beautiful new thing. Every one of them thought their life was going to be different and now it's ugly. And they found a family and got to be beautiful together.
I mean, that is the positive. They found a family.
This movie, though, they got to stay beautiful. Actually, though, Human Torch is a very handsome man, but the color filter here did not support. Oh no, there was some clunky CGI in this movie. There was some CGI that was like wrenches falling down a staircase CGI, but Human Torch looked so for real. That was awful. That was really, but Human Torch looked so incredible.
Yeah, the Human Torch on Fire was a really great.
His arm looked so good. Yeah. And also, I rarely say this because I don't think anybody has a right to get shitty about comics being different from the movies and movies being just shut up. You're wrong. Let each thing be beautiful. Twins are even different. So stop, shut up. Right. But like, my God, Sue's force field looked so unbelievably right. So cool, so just right, so right. It looked right in a way that so few things are ever that right.
I mean, I think the big thing with the force field and comics is this just would never render. It literally is just the two media. And I really appreciate that what they said was, well, what would this actually look like in the real world? And it wouldn't look like it does in the, it wouldn't look like a 3D version of what it looks like in the comics. Comics are missing more than just the third dimension. There are just simply things that they cannot display that happen on film and on visual media, that is possible to do. And so I really like that they just embrace that and found an effect that spoke to that. And yeah, I mean, it looked absolutely amazing.
I really feel like you are one of the people who has had the longest relationship with these characters alongside me, even if you've always been kind of removed. But one of the things that I think about is, as you know, we are talking about more and more on air, my relationship with the Teen Titans was equal to my relationship to the X-Men growing up, but all of my DC comics were ruined when I was 18 years old. They were literally destroyed in a flood. And so I lost all of my DC books, and it was too hard to come back to those titles for a really long time. And now I can't put down Nightwing. It's like one of the things that makes me the happiest. And as a result, TK, you're super into the Titans TV show that I'm super excited to watch. But Jonah, you grew up on the Teen Titans TV show. And there would never be a Teen Titans TV show without Johnny Storm on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And there is a very clear line of connection between this is going to sound a little too, I ask Jelaine for help, but there's a grooming element to starting kids on a comic book TV show really early with Teen Titans, getting them built into this superhero universe. There really is a grooming element to this where we set them up to grow into these shows. As somebody who grew up with Teen Titans, how do you feel about what that's made you react as an adult fan watching things like Fantastic Four?
Yeah, it's, superheroes are everywhere and superheroes are fun. So it's really, when growing up, I didn't have people who were into comics, so I wasn't into comics. I didn't read comics because I didn't have them. I didn't think that was a thing. I didn't know they existed. I was like, oh, okay, there's, media and what they're from, but it just didn't really pass my brain because I wasn't surrounded by it and I had no idea. I didn't know what a comic book shop was. So the only way you get this kind of superhero media and this media of these characters that have so much history, so much fandom, so much love given to them is through these TV shows. And so they're very popular. A lot of the, young justices of the world, your X-Men 97s, all these, more modern things. But still, it is kind of paving the way for people to love comics as people, my peers enjoy going to these kinds of movies, partly because we were all watching things like Teen Titans, Young Justice, Justice League, Static Shock, and I'm not just naming DC shows. There just wasn't really a ton of Marvel stuff on.
There really wasn't.
But yeah, it kind of does push this idea of I want to use the phrase priming people to get and seasoning them to get ready for things like this.
Ooh, I love
you
that
know what?
word.
I actually really do. I love that seasoning. Ooh, I'm gonna season a turkey.
No,
It makes me
priming.
want to Vogue.
No, wrong show.
Well, I was really excited to start Vogue.
I was really excited for Turkey.
You can vote with Galactus.
I would love to Vogue with Galactus, but he had a bad day. I don't know if he'll be in the sequel. It's that thing that Chris Tucker says. Well, he ain't going to be in Rush Hour 3. So
It would be that back.
That perhaps is the tough thing about a movie like this, though, when you put it in that perspective. If this was our great start to a Fantastic Four franchise, was that us completely blowing the Galactic wad? It was good, but yeah, now we're not going to probably do Galactus again for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a really weird place. There's so much that we don't know now. To me, it's so funny that Kevin Feige has been doing this latest press tour talking about all these, little aspects of the MCU. And one of the ones that's really driven me nuts is him saying that they were moving away from Kang before Jonathan Majors' scandal hit, because Kang just isn't, as scary as Thanos. And I just think you have to be the least imaginative group of writers and creators to not know how Kang is so much scarier than Thanos and so much scarier than Doom, unless you are really going wide with your Doom stuff in a way that, I talk all the time on our comics podcasts about how Doom in One World Under Doom really isn't scary because Doom has been, the master of the multiverse. And I know they're trying to get us closer to that, but telling that story took years and took Jonathan Hickman writing a whole set of Avengers stories wherein Doom basically doesn't feature until the very end. And we have to develop this enormous multiversal conspiracy that goes into places that you just can't do in a 2-hour movie. So, you know, I'm bummed because Doom, he's cool, whatever. And we got our first look at the back of his head in the mid-credit sequence for this. Yay.
I think that might have been Florence Pugh before I would think that was actually Robert Downey Jr.
100%.
Oh,
and you know, it's just Doom's fine, whatever. We'll see what we get and why and how, but at the very least with Kang, they had some runway that they had already developed the character, and really somebody who could potentially fuck up not just like your life at a power level similar to Thanos, but also your past, your future, multiple timelines, and like not just might do it to spite you, but also might accidentally do it, and might throw you into adventure. That's so much scarier to me than Thanos. I hate that Kevin Feige has gone now and said this, because it just really makes me have less faith in everybody.
And I want to say, it's not that I don't feel like there is no storytelling validity to something like Kang has been dispatched in Loki season 2, even though they were leaning toward that. Like, stories can go in that direction sometimes in terms of creatively, but it probably wasn't that much of a creative choice, and that's okay too. But let's not force a pretend, shall we?
Yeah, it's you just move away because you're moving away, whatever. But when you say stuff like that, it really makes me feel like you don't, like, you're saying that you're not skilled enough to make this work, and I'll believe you too if you say that. So, you know, Galactus, it'll be really interesting to see, like, did we just do a one-off with Galactus and this will never come up again? You know, they've said that they're recasting big characters and resetting the MCU after we get through Secret World. That's how we'll bring the X-Men in. Will the Fantastic Four, as we saw them in this, be back, or will we be getting a new Fantastic Four? Why would they be coming back but not, Steve Rogers, Chris Evans as Steve Rogers? It'll be really interesting to get answers to those questions, and might those also lead us to answers for why we might see Galactus again, because there's still a lot of great Galactus stories that could be told. I personally think we probably won't see him again for a very long time, or like maybe one day they'll do like an Ultimate show or something where we could see him. But my next line of theorizing is, once we get the X-Men in, if we don't do Avengers versus X-Men as like a full-on film, the two big like blocks of film series would lead us up to Fatal Attractions and then Onslaught. We would do it, and another block of films would lead us on to Onslaught, because those are the next two, the two things with X-Men where everyone is really involved and have big consequences.
I love the thing you're pitching, but I just feel they need too long a runway. I don't know how you can make Fatal Attractions work, because I mean, I feel like what you're really referencing is Blood Ties.
Yeah. So yeah, Blood Ties more than Fatal. Yes, you're right. Sorry.
You kind of just need a really long runway, and like Onslaught works if you convince me it's like, and this is going to be such a stretch, but if you tell me that Xavier and Wanda formed Onslaught,
I think it'll be something like Madness,
that. Then whoever new Xavier has nothing to do with old Xavier.
Yeah.
And then I could see it happening.
Yeah.
I think the frustration I have is like, you know, again, you said in that same episode, hey guys, check out X for Comics. This show's a partner show. But as you said there, you know, we're kind of at a point where the people who are these characters, like, I don't think these iterations, can keep coming back. We're at, 40 and 50 years for some of these actors. You got to be able to go forward. And like, I worry that going forward is going to mean relying on the past too much and asking us to say, oh, I remember Xavier from those other movies, instead of thinking about new Xavier, Also, I'm going to assume that that's Neo the One and not Neotheon. But if I am mispronouncing it, and it is Neotheon, first of all, beautiful name. But if you are Neo the One, I do wonder if that is why they introduced Franklin Richards. They are buying themselves in that reset button. I'm at a place where, like, as an MCU fan, I'm thrilled. I love what's happening, but as a Marvel fan who wants to see his favorite stories adapted, I've lost all hope. So, like, I'm in a great place because I don't want what I wanted. I want a new thing, and that's great. You know, you think you're going to be the president, and then you get older, and then you realize that you could maybe be a senator, and then you get older, and you realize you can maybe be a city comptroller, and then you get older, and then you realize...
And then you become the Secretary of Education, then all of a sudden the Cylons invade, and then you get to be president. So, you know, you never know.
I mean, I believe we have found a planet, Earth. But
I will lead us to Cobol.
Oh my god. Can I tell you that one of the greatest disappointments of my life was going to name my band on Rock Band Kara Thrace and Her Special Destiny, and finding it was taken. So anyway, as Nico Action and His Special Destiny, Jonah, I want you to tell me final thoughts, what you thought, where you're at, vibes on this movie as we go toward Doomsday. Right? Doomsday is next?
Yes, I believe. Let me double check. But I believe the next listed film for the MCU is next May's Doomsday, which is crazy to think.
Which is also...
No! Oh my god, that's right! No, it's because Doomsday got moved to December, so no. The next movie is 1 year from now. The next Spider-Man is next summer. And then Doomsday is December. I forgot it got moved.
Okay. So Jonah, let me try that one more time. How do you feel about this movie? Where are you at? Vibe, whatever I said before. ... Spider-Man, then Doomsday.
Yeah.
Well, I am excited because I really enjoyed this. I find this movie was not very superhero-y in the sense of what we traditionally think and what we've seen come out of the MCU in the past, handful of movies where I think a lot of people just kind of had fatigue and burnout because they were just churning a lot out. But I think this was kind of a little bit different because this focus wasn't on them really being superheroes and using their powers. It was them being superheroes, and the entire world, the entire Earth relies on it. And I think that was fascinating to look at. What does that mean to put that pressure on these four superpowered people? Five, if you want to include Franklin, which I don't know. They look like Uncle Victor. Look like he's might be trying to get some custody. So all that is to say, I am excited. I'm looking forward to where everything is going to go, and I look forward to more.
I love that. I feel like you really mentioned some things that are really important at that last second. Just like the idea that there is more. This wasn't just itself. There's more coming, and that's truly exciting. TK, what are your overall vibes on this movie? It's so exciting to hear you be so positive. I'm so grateful because, I only want you to have good times. And when you go to these things that you look forward to so much, and it's not the thing you're excited about coming due. I wish my camera would focus.
Yeah, sort of dabbing a little bit. There you go.
There you go. I'm sorry. I just did a turkey motion. Does it make you want to Vogue? When you go to these things and they're not what you want, I'm so bummed out. But this was something you'd initially been skeptical of, but then it turned out to be something really special for you. Yeah. And so, I would love to know where you're at on this project, as Jonah said, knowing that there's more to come.
Yeah, I mean, but there kind of is not a ton more to come, really. I mean, we know. When we were talking about what the movie releases, they've talked for a little while about how there might be a couple secret things on the schedule. I think it's probably too late to announce another movie before Spider-Man and Doomsday, or even between Spider-Man and Doomsday. So increasingly we're kind of running out of time for there to be any other projects coming.
According to Wiki, Disney has scheduled an additional release date for an unannounced Marvel Studios film in July 2027. So it looks like there's only one.
So
movie.
yeah, One movie that makes sense to me. It'll be interesting to see what that could possibly be in relation to all this, but I don't think Brand New Day is going to give us a ton related to this. Maybe a post-credit sequence.
I really hope that the theme song is inexplicably Sting's Brand New Day.
Sure, yeah, I would go with that. I could definitely see Tony. I could definitely see Robert Downey Jr. Doom showing up to Peter in a post-credit sequence to fuck him up a little bit. But other than that, then we're on to Doomsday and then Secret Wars. And again, like I said, that's if we're lucky, that's 5 hours of movie. It's probably less than that. So there's not gonna be a ton more happening before this incarnation, this cosmos, I think, is done, and we are on to the second MCU cosmos.
We had like 1 year of New Coke before it was Coca-Cola Classic.
There you go. So we don't have a ton left. I think that's okay. I'm fine with that. I dare to speculate about what could come after. But I really did like this. It's funny because when I think about it, I have been a little pessimistic about MCU stuff, but yeah, I really loved Thunderbolts. I think I was pessimistic in the lead up to this because Captain America Brave New World is such a bad film.
It's just not a good movie.
So stunningly bad in every possible way. And then
people can be so hyperbolic about it. Was it literally torture? Would it literally be torture to be forced to watch it again? No. But was it good, and do I want to actively pursue it again? No. Probably not. No.
Absolutely not. And then unfortunately, this is just a me thing, but in hindsight, after leaving the theater, reflecting on it, Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine was not for me. And I think there is a lot wrong with it. And it represents a lot wrong with all of this. That I'm very excited that it's part of the reason I'm excited that we're moving on. That we're maybe entering a new cosmos, that we are recasting the X-Men, that we are maybe moving away from the Fox X-Men thing forever. It's the thing that you said, like, we can't keep looking back.
Yeah, no more nostalgia goggles, because if one more person, I was talking about this with KEVO, when people said, oh, I'm so excited Ecto Cooler's coming back, I was like, tell me the flavor. What flavor was it? I don't know the color. I don't want to know what was on the box. I don't want to know the tie-in. What was the flavor? If you can't tell me the flavor, you're addicted to an idea. What did you like about Blade Trinity? What did you like about Blade 2? What did you like about Elektra? I'll wait.
Yeah, but I would take Fruitopia.
Oh, I miss Fruitopia in those Coca-Cola machines. Fruitopia.
Oh, yeah.
KEVO, that was the berry thing!
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what that is.
You're welcome.
Yeah, one of those.
So yeah, I mean, we gotta move on. And don't get me wrong, Hugh Jackman, absolutely incredible, iconic Wolverine. And it's wild that he has managed to do it for so long, and it hasn't been bad, but the man simply will age out of this relatively soon. And also we got to let him stop taking steroids. Like, he'll die. Like, let him retire and live his life. This much, it's not good for him.
And he just got Sutton Foster, so come on.
Yeah, I bet they have so much fun having sex with each other.
I thought you were going to say other men.
I believe that happens. But yeah, I mean, so we got to move on from Hugh Jackman. And so anyway, I didn't like Deadpool, but then I love the Marvels. Like, I actually really have loved a lot of the MCU, and it had like a little bit of a brief snag where it just wasn't quite for me. And I do think I let that really color some pessimism going into this year and the films that came out this year. But yeah, I really loved Thunderbolts. I really loved this movie. I was absolutely so pessimistic about this movie. And I think it would have been worse if I let myself watch the trailers, but I'm so glad I had the experience that I had, which was seeing a movie theater trailer in theaters for for Superman. I felt bad. That trailer ruined Superman because the Fantastic Four trailer looks so much better. And so I was just kind of disappointed by Superman. But like that, that got me hyped, and then I was ready to go see the film. And it was such a great experience all the way through. Yeah, absolutely not perfect. Some weird choices. Weird that some CGI was so bad, given that some CGI was so good. And similarly, like that there were a lot of practical effects in the mix was awesome. But then that always leads me to believe, like, why didn't you do more? Everybody, again, woke intern, where were you? Charlotte Ball did not need to have a metal wig. She should have just been bald. That hair looked insane. Why would the Power Cosmic let you keep your stupid metal hair?
Because Shalabal has had hair when she's been the Silver
I know,
before.
but that's
because
not...
why do lizard women have tits? Because they have to.
Yeah.
And I even hear everything you're saying in terms of like nostalgia and us needing to move on. I even really agree with everything you're saying. Part of the problem is that it is part of what our brains fixate on. They are rebooting, not even rebooting, remixing is the proper word, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for like the 5th time, because that's what our brains love. Neo the One, I really loved your question of, once we get a reboot, who do you think the face of the MCU would be? You said Spider-Man, but Sony would yank him back. The thing is, like, yeah, you're saying Spider-Man, which is a nostalgic answer in the first place, but B, we have no idea. Sony keeps stringing this thing along. We can hope that within a few years, we'll be able to have some better reciprocity, that we can have Spider-Man as the face, that we can have Miles in the films, that we can do something. But part of the problem is it's so hard to say from this side of whatever this climax that we're being promised, what we can expect from the future. We loved this MCU for a reason, so there's going to be things they'll want to retain from it. But I really do hear you and agree. In so many ways, we need to be able to move on, branch out, move forward, and this really showed outside of the MC universe how you can do that, while I think Thunderbolts really illustrated how inside of the MC universe you can do that. And we're seeing a lot of really good reinvention and ways you can both draw on the old and introduce new for audiences that don't need to have done all of the homework that everyone's complaining about all the time.
And Neo the One, Spider-Man will exist in the MCU after the reboot because Sony has really realized that they can't make Spider-Man movies with the characters that they have. They can't make they can't make Craven was bad, Madam Web was bad. They can't make anything with what they still own, but they can actually get a solid amount of money licensing Spider-Man back to Marvel to use, and that is essentially the only way they can make money off of the
it's the only smart move for them next.
They may be able to at a certain point, and this will depend on so many things, but they will keep licensing him to the MCU. At a certain point, Sony may become desperate enough for money and Disney willing enough to pay billions of dollars just to get the IP back, that it works for everybody, and they'll buy back Spider-Man somehow in the future. But at this point, Sony has canceled they've canceled Venom movies, they've canceled every other, they're not doing La Muerta. They have a very limited window of characters. They're all Spider-Man characters. They don't work as a cohesive universe, and they can't make good Spider-Man movies either, but they can make money off of licensing him back to Marvel. So that's he will be there. He might not be the face of it. I think the face of it will probably be an X-Man. I think it will probably be Storm. But he'll always be a part of it because Marvel can figure out what to do with him and Sony just simply can't. That's also kind of my final thought on everything. You can find me at TK Accidental anywhere you like.
Oh, I guess we're doing. I will skip my final thoughts. Jonah,
we were doing them earlier, and so I talked too long.
Jonah, where are you at?
You can find me places at Peak Jonah.
Kevo, where can we find you?
You can find me on this channel tomorrow talking about Star Trek. I'm pretty excited. You can find us next week talking about Project Runway. Super stoked about that. We always have plenty of content. We're going to talk about Drag Race again once we have something to talk about. But we're always here and we're always having a good time. You can find me at KEVO Really. You can find us at X's for Show. You can find us at FlameCon next month. So, yeah, lots of exciting stuff this summer.
And as always, you guys can check me out at NICO Action, NICOACTION, NICO Action Music. If you want to hear the tracks in the background, NICO Action Music, NICOACTION, MUSIC. And we love to check you guys out, like Kevo said, at all of those locations. And until next time, we will see you guys. So like, comment, and subscribe, and do us a favor. Number 1, please stay safe. Number 2, be brave. And number 3, evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, amazing. Who you are today, incredible. But who you are tomorrow is the dream, and we can't wait to see you then.
Oh, right, it wasn't.